So I know you probably heard Thailand is going through a tourism epidemic right now. Tourism is falling greatly, and the new golden place to move to for tourism right now is Vietnam, or at least you may have heard. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Is Thailand still the best place to go to live a good life? But before we kind of hop into the main topic, let's get some facts straight first. So tourism basically since last year has fallen about 5%, which is actually pretty staggering. And even more specifically, during the summer months, it has fallen about 14%, which is very, very aggressive fall off, especially in comparison to previous years. But actually, even speaking of previous years, if we take a look at this chart here, we'll see that basically Thailand's peak tourism year was 2019. Then right after we had the Rona happen, so we see a steep fall off in tourism, and gradually it's been increasing, but not towards its 2019 peak. So why is that? Why is Thailand not seen as the tourism destination that it used to be? Now, before we get into the main topics, if you guys have any questions about Thailand and want to book a one-on-one meeting with me, you can ask me all your questions regarding visas, visitation, finding housing, pretty much anything to live in Thailand. You can find it so down in the comments. Also down there as well, you'll find a link to my one-on-one coding mentorship. There I will teach you in person, weekly, how to code from scratch and how to get long-term remote work so that way you can stay in Thailand and live comfortably. Now, one of the main reasons Thailand isn't really seen as the tourism mecca that it used to be is strictly because Thailand is getting more expensive. Thailand now is considered a second-tier country and not a third-tier country like it used to be. So if you look back in time in the mystic world of the 80s and compare, for example, pictures of Soy 6 back then versus Soy 6 now, or Bangkok back then versus Bangkok now, you'll see a major difference in the quality of life in those areas and just in Thailand in general. The main thing is that just tourism over the years has brought Thailand more money. But at the same time, since it's brought over money, it's become more expensive. Thailand is not the destination that it used to be, where you can survive off $1,000 a month and be good. And it's become over time a little bit more expensive, especially in comparison to other Southeast Asian countries. In Bangkok, for example, it's becoming increasingly more rare to find apartments that are very cheap, like $100, $200, or $300, like it used to be a couple years ago. Even in where I'm at, for example, in Phuket, finding cheaper apartments in the $300 to $400 range is rather difficult, especially during the peak seasons. And that's on the cheaper side. If you want to live very glamorous, which most foreigners coming over to Thailand definitely do, you can get apartments upwards to $1,000 to $1,500 a month on the high end, which is basically essentially US prices. Now, obviously you'll get a lot more bang for your buck, but it still is very expensive. Along with that, if you want to live a Western lifestyle, such as going to nightclubs or having gym memberships or doing kind of various outdoor events, these can be rather pricey as well. So for example, in Phuket, we have a whole bunch of places you go see elephants, and the prices of those are gradually increasing. They used to be, from what I learned from people that live here, used to be about like 50 baht, very cheap. Now it's at upwards of 600 baht, which is about a factor of 12 increase, so becoming much more expensive. Same thing with gym memberships. On the cheap end, you can get a $40 gym membership, or they can climb upwards to 200 USD, which is basically more than it costs in America to have a gym membership. Along with that, as you already know, this year, Thailand has been hit with tariffs from the US for all foreign exports. So when Thailand's exporting into America, they get hit with a tariff, and so that's the citizens, people that live in Thailand, get hit with that tariff cost as well. So that's making the cost of living even higher. Some of the major reasons is actually Chinese tourism. So Chinese tourism has drastically fell this year due to one specific incident, and that being the famous actor that came to Thailand and was kidnapped. Which, trust me, for Thailand to have someone kidnapped and that to be national press news is very rare. So for Chinese people, that's made them very afraid to come into Thailand due to the fear of obviously being kidnapped, and also the stigma now against Thailand. So now if you go to popular areas in Phuket, such as the Patong region or Kat Beach, you'll see generally, if not in all, any Chinese tourism anymore. Because once again, they're afraid of the stigma behind Thailand. It's now considered unsafe. Now, in my thoughts, that is good, because even though Thailand is safer in comparison to the United States, it is definitely still not super safe. So I can tell you from my own personal experience, Thai people carry guns all the time and machetes. It's definitely not uncommon. So I can definitely understand the sentiment behind having a fear of coming to Thailand due to the fact that something bad can happen to you, because it definitely is a possibility. Not so much in the major cities such as like Bangkok, Chiang Mai, and Phuket, but as you start to go to the more northern or province-based regions, you're going to find that this is going to be more a common thing. Another major reason as well is going to be that Thailand has just a lot of competition, especially in the Asian countries. And for instance, there's Vietnam, which is a major place right now. Vietnam, as it stands currently right now, that's having this kind of like tourism golden age, it's tourism mecca. Everyone's going to Vietnam because the prices are what Thailand used to be, but it's not really too much anymore. Also, another thing about Vietnam right now is they have a whole bunch of new major architecture being built to attract new tourism. One thing about Thailand, especially outside of the Bangkok regions, is that generally speaking, new infrastructure is not being built to bring in tourists. It's only meant to maintain what is already there. And if it is, it becomes raggedy over time because they do not take care of it. because Thai people are sabai. They're always not so much on the up and up when it comes to maintaining things over a long period of time. They'll just keep them in an okay state, not so much like keeping them in the original state to really make tourism want to stay long term. In my own experience in Phuket, for example, especially in the regional island in Phuket, a lot of the apartments are not kept up well in comparison to what they originally were. And this is due to the fact that the apartment owners know, hey, if I just stay here, tourists are gonna come and they're gonna rent the apartment. So there's nothing I really have to do to maintain it outside of just keeping it like at an okay state. Even the nicer, and I'm using that very sparingly, places in like Patong or Kata are the same way. The only time you really see tourists being super accommodated is when it's a building specifically made for tourists. But generally for that, what you're gonna find is that the rent's gonna be much more expensive, along with the fact that you're gonna get a lot less space for the cost. So it's really not worth it in my opinion. And also there's places like Japan. Japan is very glitz and glamoury. I've been in Japan many times, and I can definitely say that Japan is not only substantially cleaner than Thailand is, but it's, I would even say, arguably much safer than Thailand is. I would say Thailand definitely has a couple areas that are definitely not the most safe. Now, along with that, one thing you'll really notice about living in Thailand is that the government is very unsure and unstable and constantly shifting policy. So this is something that kind of creeps up on you. You don't really think about until you can experience it on a day-to-day basis. The government is always changing policy in Thailand, and it is always not really ever spoken to the public directly. Now you have to keep in mind, Thailand, once again, is a third world country that's growing into a second-tier country. And so with that, they're trying to accommodate and change policy to accommodate all these new changes that they're getting, which is understandable. But at the same time, a lot of these changes that they're making are not subtle changes, they are hyper drastic changes that change basically on a day-to-day basis. And so a common one is something like, if you're a foreigner, getting a Thai bank. When I first moved to Thailand, getting a Thai bank was possible on the DTV visa. As a side note, if you do know a bank that offers DTV holders that are renters a Thai bank account, please slide me on Instagram. I would definitely love to talk to you and get information. But according to my current knowledge, they do not any longer allow DTV holders to have Thai bank accounts. The original reason why this was is because a whole bunch of foreigners would come, do illegal business on a DTV visa, then have a Thai bank account and use it for money laundering, which is fine and I understand, but that's a super small percentage of DTV holders. And another thing that's also changed is two major industries in Thailand. One, the visa industry has greatly changed this year with the introduction of the DTV visa, which itself is expensive. You need about 15,000 USD in your bank account to even apply for the visa. But also as well, the actual tourism visa that everyone gets naturally into Thailand has decreased drastically from 90 days to just a whopping 30 days. So even if foreigners do come spend their money, if they are not on a long-term visa, they're gonna have to do a visa run monthly, which is obviously not sustainable. Another one is the constantly changing visa policies. Visas in general. When the DTV was first introduced, there was a whole bunch of misinformation about what DTV holders can and cannot do. And most of the issue was not that the policy was not there or written, it was the fact that the policy was not clearly communicated to the public through the public forums, such as the DTV website where you apply. A lot of information that you need to know and that is very critical when you apply is not ever stated on the website, such as how many visa runs you're allowed before applying for the DTV visa. So for example, if you were a tourist, came over here for 30 days, and maybe you stayed here for 6 months doing a visa run every month, and you would actually apply for your DTV visa and get it and then try to come into Thailand, you would more than likely be rejected due to the fact that you have too many visa runs. Or another one is the fact that when they actually stamp your visa, they have to stamp your arrival date and your return date parallel to each other. And the issue is that most of the people that stamp your visa will stamp your visa diagonally. So essentially they stamp it diagonally. That whole page of your visa is gone and cannot be stamped anymore. So there's many things that are just left out about the policy behind how these visas work that is not ever really clearly delineated to the public. And then a more recent one is obviously the change in the weed policy. Ganja, you know what I'm saying, the za is a big thing in Thailand. And for them to change that policy, it's not only affecting heavily the Thai population, but also tourism coming in. A big part of people that come to Thailand are people that are backpackers. Now, the major reason that Thailand has been cracking down so much lately on pretty much every avenue is the fact they're trying to attract a higher quality of long-term tourists, or AKA residents. One of the main prerogatives behind the DTV visa is not the fact that they're trying to get anybody to apply, but they want people who have money and who are educated or at least wealthy to come to the country and stay long term. And they're trying to crack down on the tourists that come only for short periods of time with little money or engage in illicit or illegal activity. A common one can be freelancing. If you go to anywhere in Thailand, such as the 36 area, or in my case, the Patong region, or basically any massage shop ever in Thailand, or in Bangkok as well, you'll see that freelancing is a super common thing. Trust me, even if you go on Tinder, for example, you will find nothing but freelancers or people that come to buy illegal drugs, things of that nature. They basically want to crack down on these type of tourists because overarchingly, they make the experience of Thailand a lot worse. And also they do not bring any real economic benefit because they don't spend a lot of money and they don't even have a lot of money to spend. So a lot of Thailand's new policy changes is to try to find an even ground between the tourists that come here that have a long-term money and tourists that come here and do not have long-term money. Also as well, a lot of these tourists that come to engage in various illegal activity or whatever tend to degrade the natural resources that are available in Thailand. One that I've seen personally myself is the degradation of Maya Bay. Maya Bay was visitable last year, and this year it is not due to the fact of over-tourism and obviously throwing trash on the beach and things of that nature. Now, I think in general, this is a good and a bad thing. I think it is in one sense a good thing because generally Thailand will be a better place to live because there'll be much more higher level, higher quality tourists coming in. Well, the opposite of the fence, what you end up getting is Thailand losing kind of its, in my opinion, Thai-ness. One of the main things, at least for me, that makes Thailand a very good destination to visit is the fact that there is government instability. And from that, the things that I could not get in the United States are now accessible in Thailand. A common one can be pharmaceuticals. In Thailand, the pharmaceutical industry is very open. So if you needed something for your medical condition or you need to do surgery or whatever, those services are really cheap until you don't, for instance, like need health insurance due to the fact that you can just go and pay 900 baht to get your teeth cleaned, which is like 15 bucks. Over time, I expect industries like this that are very wide open to surely but slowly degradate down into their US counterpart, where they are highly guarded and price gouged for instance, like Thai people. Now, as always, I think there's a lot of pros and cons with stuff like this. It's a very dynamic topic. But before we get off the video today, guys, if you're looking for information on how to have remote work and have money in your pocket when you move here, I have a one-on-one coding mentorship you can sign up for in the description below. It's a monthly subscription, and we do one-on-one lessons per week. And trust me, I will take you from A to B as a professional software engineer. I have about 10 years of experience, know a number of different languages such as Java, JavaScript, C, C++, VHDL, HDL, System Verilog. List goes on. I'm not gonna name them all, but know tons of them. So I can teach you everything you need to know to work in the current landscape of the tech world. Or if you're interested in knowing information about Thailand, you can book a one-on-one meeting with me where we'll discuss everything you need to know about Thailand. The link is also in the description. Or if you're just gonna simply buy your boy a coffee, like I said, same thing, the link is in the description. But if you're interested in knowing what it's like to date in Thailand, why don't you look at my video here? Or also, if you're looking at common questions that are asked in Thailand, how about you look at my video here? But either case, I'll see you guys next time. Yeah.